Oh my gosh, this question is kind of embarrassing. I've kind of been avoiding it. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to our Q&A for the month of November. I've been pretty consistent with doing these every single month and it makes me so happy. I love just having these long chatty videos as a way for us to just hang out and get cozy together. And I really want these Q&As to feel like we're just on the phone, on FaceTime, two friends hanging out. It is a very gloomy, rainy day today, so I put on this cozy sweater. I just made a cup of cinnamon water and we are going to hang out and chat. So whatever you are up to as you are watching this, I hope you enjoy. You can feel free to let me know what day it is, what you're up to while you watch. I love reading those comments. And without further ado, let's get into this Q&A. Okay, now that the intro's done, I am going to get like extra cozy because it's seriously just so gloomy out there and my mood is seriously like so affected by the weather. When it's not a nice day, I tend to look outside and I'm like, ugh, I'm gonna have a crappy day. So instead of having a crappy day, let's have a cozy day. I feel like that's a really positive spin to put on a bad weather day. So these questions are actually part 2 of October's Q&A. There were so many good questions when I posted on Instagram and I always feel bad when I can't answer every single question. So I was like, I'm gonna save them and we're gonna use them for November's Q&A. If you wanna be a part of December's Q&A, make sure to follow me on Instagram. That way you'll see it when I post to the question box and you can leave your question for me there. And just before we dive into the questions, I thought it would be nice to do a little bit of a life update, a little catch up. So I just got back from my 1-week trip to Arizona and Las Vegas. It's so funny because the trip was really only like 7 days on the dot, but I feel like I was gone for 3 weeks. Like that was much more of a trip than a vacation. And I mean that in the best way possible. We just did so much. So I spent the first 5 days with my friend Gracie, who had just moved to Scottsdale. We went hiking, we went to the saloon, we just lived our best lives and it was amazing. Then JS met up with me in Arizona and we went to Las Vegas for 2 days, which was just crazy. We didn't party, we didn't do like the typical Vegas stuff. The only thing we did was like play slots a little bit, but something about Vegas is just so overstimulating and overwhelming that by the end I was like, I need to go home. And I'm so happy to be home. But I feel like the trip was really great because it kicked me out of my comfort zone. And prior to leaving, I was just in a really weird place. And I'm kind of like tired of hearing myself say that because I feel like I've been saying it in like every video and every vlog, or like I'll feel better for a week and then I'm back to kind of feeling meh. But it's the truth. I don't know. I'm just tempted to like blame it on the season, blame it on the time change. But going on that trip and getting out of my comfort zone, doing those hikes, like being so physical and being tired, I think it was really, really good for me. I also just filmed a mid-month check-in and I mentioned this in the check-in, but I feel like getting out of my comfort zone allowed me to get out of my head, which allowed a lot of like good news and positive vibes to come in. And I'm just really trying to hold on to those, stay busy at home and not, I feel like the busier I am, the less time I have to like stew in my brain about stuff. So that is kind of my motto. And I'm just really happy to be home, to dive back into GYSTN, Get Your Shit Together November. Have a lot of exciting work stuff coming up. I'm actually going on a work retreat next week, like myself going on a Zoey solo work retreat for YouTube. So there's just a lot of exciting stuff coming up. So that's my little life update. I'm so glad you guys are here. I'm so glad we're gonna hang out for the next however much time. I'm gonna go for as long as possible. I have to say, I'm sorry for this lighting. It's just so gloomy. Like, welcome to Montreal, welcome to November. I feel like my videos are gonna be yellow like this until the spring. And let's jump into these questions. First question is a YouTube related question, which is what editing and thumbnail software do you use? So I wanted to answer this question because I feel like my answer is kind of funny. I use iMovie, which just comes for free on any like Mac computer. A lot of YouTubers will upgrade to Final Cut Pro, but the problem with that is 1, it's expensive. 2, it really slows down your computer. And for me, I don't like the style of overly edited videos. Like I like my editing to be very, very simple. I don't need a lot of crazy features. So I never wanted to pay for Final Cut Pro. I use Canva to do my thumbnails and I actually discovered that I could get a wider selection of fonts through Canva download the image as a PNG with a transparent background, and that is the fonts you see on my videos. So iMovie comes with a really, really bad selection of fonts. They're like really outdated, and you can't place it wherever you want on the screen. Like if I wanted to place a sticker here with iMovie, I wouldn't be able to. But if I take a screenshot of my video, I can add whatever, you know, cowboy emoji I want, and I can stick it wherever I want with a transparent background. So it's like maybe a little bit of extra work, but I like it, and that's actually how I do my editing. So I do all of the footage on iMovie, and anything that pops up on the screen, it's all through Canva. And I also use Canva to do my thumbnails. Canva is amazing. It costs like $100 a year, and I use it for so many things. I just love it. Jasmine asked, do you have any travel plans for 2024? So yes, I do. I have 2 upcoming trips, I guess. The first is not really solidified, but every winter JS and I go to Florida to visit his mom, who is a snowbird, and she goes from Quebec to Florida every single winter. So we like to spend a week, 10 days, 2 weeks, as long as possible, honestly, in Florida. So I'm really looking forward to that, probably in January or February, maybe March. And my friend Haley, who lives in Missouri, is getting married in May, and JS and I are going to her wedding. I met Haley just like how I met Gracie on Study Abroad. She is the first study abroad friend to get married, and I'm so thrilled and grateful to be invited to her wedding because I don't think I would ever otherwise go to Missouri. So it's really fun to have these excuses to go to a new place. Plus to see her, it's gonna be an Australia reunion, and I'm just so happy to watch her get married. So those are my 2 current travel plans for 2024, but I really do hope more happen. Now, speaking of travel, I want to give a shout out to The Line for sponsoring this video. I really just did any segue I could, but I wanted to share with you guys a few of my favorite pieces from The Line because they are having their big Black Friday sale. The Line is a stationery company that I use for my cash envelopes, my digital budget tracker, my passport holder, and it is with The Line that I collaborated and built the Gentle Productivity Planner. So The Line is having 20% off site-wide, except for the Gentle Productivity Planner, for Black Friday. And I wanted to show you guys a few of my favorite pieces that I think are the perfect gift for someone else in your life or for yourself. To me, Black Friday is the perfect opportunity to purchase something that you've been wanting for a while. It's on sale, like now's the perfect chance, or to purchase Christmas gifts or holiday gifts in advance. So the reason I said speaking of travel is because these are the passport holders from The Line. They are made of Saffiano leather, and these make an incredible gift. I feel like passport holders are the kind of things that maybe you wouldn't buy for yourself, but you would love to receive it as a gift. And the best part about the ones from The Line is that they are customized. So you guys can see we have my initials ZP on the passport holder. The reason I have 2 is because JS has one as well. His initials are right here in the silver. Look how good that looks. If you have someone in your life who loves to travel, these passport holders with the customized stamp make an excellent gift. And these are currently 20% off. Another excellent gift, I think this would be like the gift with the biggest Zoey stamp of approval, is a cash envelopes starter kit from The Line. This is the folio in the premium Saffiano leather. If you've been doing cash envelopes for a while and you want to upgrade to the premium folio, now is a great time because it's 20% off. Or if you want to give any starter kit as a gift, if you have a friend or a family member who, you know, we all have that friend who's like, this is the year I'm going to take charge of my finances. This is the year. Here you go. Here you go, perfect opportunity to get started. And I think it's a very, very loving gift. Perfect way to start 2024 with a new cash budget kit. So you can do the custom envelopes, you can choose the leather folio. The cash envelopes are a wonderful gift for, like I said, a friend, a family member, or for yourself. If you've been on the fence about starting the cash envelopes method, now is your chance, 20% off. The best part about the cash envelopes, you guys, I promise you, is yes, you are spending money to start a budgeting journey, but in your first month, I am sure you will save more than you spent on the kit. Like, it's fantastic. I've been doing cash envelopes for over a year. I have never looked back. This is the folio I started with, actually. So perfect thing to pick up on Black Friday. The last item I want to show you is this linen notebook. all purchases over $100 will receive this notebook as a gift, and you guys can see it's also customized, so you can put your initials. If you have a short name like me, this will be included in all orders over $100. So the line's Black Friday sale is running from the 19th of November to the 26th. Once again, it's 20% off everything on the site except for the Gentle Productivity Planners, and a free gift when you spend over $100. Thank you so much to The Line for sponsoring this video. I love this company so much. It's such a joy and a dream to work with them on a sponsored video. You guys know I just love them through and through, and I talk about The Line probably in every single one of my videos. Okay, I just opened my phone to go back to the questions. My sister texted me that she was watching my Arizona vlog and said, "Thoroughly enjoyed. Thank you, Zoey." Which, like, since when did she talk to me like that? And then she said, "I think you should do bangs again." I think my sister's trying to sabotage me. What do we think? Should I do my bangs again? I don't think so. We actually have another question about travel plans from Clueless Monkey. She says, "Is Europe in your travel plans next year? Would you ever come to Brussels?" So I feel like I'm cursed when it comes to going to Europe. Right before COVID, we had a family trip to Italy planned. It was supposed to be the summer of 2020. And of course, with everything that happened in the world, that got canceled. Then last summer, we were supposed to redo that family trip. But once again, it got canceled because when the time came to book flights, accommodations, car rental, like everything in Italy or to get to Italy was so freaking expensive that we were all just like, we can't do this. So a lot of the traveling that I've been doing has been within Canada or within like North America, United States. I did go to Colombia, which is in South America, but everything's kind of been in this, this line of the world. And I'm okay with that. Like I don't really have that much of a travel bucket list. I'm kind of just like, I would love to go anywhere. I just love getting out of my comfort zone. I love seeing any new place, like whether it's Missouri, whether it's Brussels. I definitely do want to go to Europe because I feel like, from what I hear, Europe is beautiful and there's so many countries and cities to explore there, and I definitely want to go visit. I don't have like a particular order in Europe aside from Italy. Like I'm itching to go to Italy, but aside from Italy, I'm kind of just like, hey, wherever there's a flight deal, wherever I can get an affordable hotel, that's where I'll go. From Silra, she said, "What was the biggest change in your lifestyle after getting Maggie?" So this is a great question, and I'm gonna answer it super honestly. It's so funny because when I used to talk about this, when I first got Maggie, people would get so mad at me. They would be like, "You don't deserve your dog. You clearly hate your dog." And it's like, I don't hate my dog. I'm just being honest that having a dog is difficult. And it was a huge adjustment for me, especially because at the time I was alone. I was single. I didn't have JS. I really didn't have anyone helping me. Like I had friends, and Camilla was an amazing, huge help. She would come over every single weekend, help me take care of Maggie. But Monday to Friday, all night long, I was alone, and it was really challenging. I am so glad I stuck it out, and I'm so glad that I went through that challenge because I learned a lot about being selfless, right? I was super selfish before then. I learned a lot about being selfless and taking care of an animal that relies on solely you to feed, let it out, take care of it, exercise, right? You have to be selfless when you're taking care of a little animal. But the lifestyle adjustment was huge. One of the major categories that changed for me was financially. Maggie costs me a lot of money. From the beginning till now, she costs me a lot of money, and that's money that I otherwise would have been spending on myself. That's money that I otherwise would have been saving and investing. So that's changed my lifestyle. I don't have as much disposable income because a lot of it goes towards the dog, especially when you first get a dog and you're going to those like vet appointments that are like, feels like every freaking week you're going to the vet when you have a new puppy. That vet bill, maybe that was your restaurant fund or your date night fund, right? It costs a lot of money having a pet. The other thing for me is that Maggie's separation anxiety, right? So Maggie cannot be left alone. She cannot be left alone for literally more than 5 minutes. She loses her mind. I've tried so many things. I did the training. I paid for the trainer. I spent thousands of dollars in training. I've tried everything, and it's just not getting better. It's a real sore spot for me. It's something that, I don't know, I'm very ashamed of because I feel like I could have done more. But anyways, that wasn't the question. But her separation anxiety does prevent me from a lot of spontaneous things. So if a friend texts me and is like, "Hey, you want to go grab a coffee?" I'm like, I can't. I have to, make sure Maggie's looked after. It's a lot easier in the summertime because it's like, hey, you want to grab a coffee? It's like, yeah, for sure, we're going to sit outside. I bring Maggie. But in the winter time, my social life goes way, way, way down. And the way around that is to just pay up, hire a dog sitter, because when I wasn't doing that, when I wasn't allowing myself to go out because I didn't want to pay the dog sitter, I was miserable. I was really, really miserable. Especially before I moved here, when I was working from home, I never left the house. Like, I'd take Maggie for a walk, and I would maybe chat with people while walking the dog, but I had no social interactions. Now that I have my office and we go out, we walk to the office, I bring her with me every day. That's really, really helpful. Before I got Maggie, I was definitely delusional. I definitely thought that I could have a dog and still go out at night and go out during the day. As long as Maggie got her exercise, I could do whatever I wanted. And that's not been the case for me, because even if she gets her exercise, even if, you know, I give her a Kong and I give her peanut butter and whatever, she still cannot be left alone. So I'm not gonna go to the club or anything like that. However, even if you have a dog that doesn't have separation anxiety, you can't go out all night. You can't spontaneously go sleep over at a friend's house, because you're not gonna leave your dog alone overnight. I don't think that's right. I feel like the dog would be scared. You just always have a little being at home that's waiting for you, that loves you, that needs you to take care of it. And you always, always, always have to be thinking of your pet. And before you had an animal and you could be selfish, to never being able to be selfish, it's a big adjustment. And it's beautiful. Like, it's not a bad thing. I love Maggie. I would not go back to life before a dog, even with her separation anxiety. I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't trade it. Like, I love her. This morning in bed, cuddling, there's nothing better. She's literally just so cute. Like, she's not here right now. She's actually at the dog sitter because I have to go out later today. Exhibit A. But she's just like the cutest, fluffiest little ball of love. It's amazing. She's amazing. From Jorge, he says, not a question, but I felt so related when you said you're scared of finishing things. It is real. This is so interesting, and I just wanted to mention it because this was what I had mentioned in my paying off my debt video, where I was like, I'd been putting off paying off my debt because I just have this fear of completion. I get it in all areas of my life, where it's like, I won't, finish paying this thing off, or I don't want to finish a TV show. I don't want to finish a movie. I don't like finishing books. In school, I would be writing a paper and I'd be so close to the end and I'd be like, well, I'm almost done. Time to take a break. It's like, just finish it and then go take a break. I do the same when I'm editing a video. I do the same when I'm working on copywriting. I'm like, well, I'm almost done. Time for a break. And I've really been working on, when I get that feeling, I literally argue with myself in my head. I'm like, no, sit your ass down, finish it. Finish it. You're going to feel so good when it's finished, and then you can go take a break. And it's been really, really helpful, just literally arguing with myself. And the first step is being aware of it, because for a long time I didn't realize that that was a habit of mine or a pattern. Now I'm aware of it, so I'm more likely to catch myself, and then I can argue with myself and actually finish things. The book and TV one is weird though. I'm like, why don't I get to the end of a book, and when you're reading, the tone changes as you kind of wrap up and move towards the conclusion. I hate it. I'm like, finish. So I always read really, really fast when I get to the end of a book, because I'm like, I don't care, finish it. I don't know. Jessie said, tips and tricks to navigate a quarter life crisis. Oh my gosh, I feel like from the time I was like 18, I started saying that I was having quarter life crises, like plural. Because like 18, I was like, well, if I die at, 70 something, this is my quarter life. I think perspective is everything. I think we can get so caught up in, I was literally feeling this when I was on Instagram earlier today, because there's a YouTuber that I watch who I didn't actually know how old she was, and she just posted that it was her 25th birthday. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she has so many subscribers. She's so successful. She's already engaged. She's planning a wedding. They're looking at buying a home, and she's 2 years younger than me. That makes me panic and feel like I'm not far along enough in life. But there's people who are older than me that haven't accomplished those things either. And those things to society, they tell us, oh, you're doing great. But in real life, they don't actually mean anything. I genuinely hope this girl is happy. But you could be engaged and be miserable. You could buy a house and be house broke, Like, I'm not saying I wish that on anyone, but you just never know. Something that I think can help with the quarter life crisis, and this is something that helps me all the time, is reminding myself I'm exactly where I need to be at the exact moment. I am on my path. I am where I need to be. And reflecting on your life. And I'm sure we all have those moments where we're like, damn, had this one thing not happened, I wouldn't be where I am today. Had that not happened, I wouldn't be where I am today. So you are on your path and it's going to look different than everyone else's, but I genuinely believe you're where you are meant to be. The other thing that helps, and I talked about this in my last Q&A, is reminding yourself that you have things right now, whether that's material things, spiritual things, relationships, you have things, you possess things that your younger self was dreaming of and never thought was possible. You are already living your younger self's dream life, and that is so exciting. And if you can't realize that now, you're not going to be happy when it's time for your midlife crisis, right? Yeah, anyways, I got to practice what I preach, but I think that's the answer, or at least part of the answer. This is such a good question, and I'm going to get emotional. Stephanie's house, she said, how do you deal with a longtime friendship falling apart? And this is kind of awkward to talk about because I'm like honestly scared this person sees this video. I really doubt she will, but I had a really strong friendship throughout university that completely fell apart after graduation. This was someone who we were like sisters. We were so close, like always sleeping over at each other's house, calling each other, talking on the phone for hours. Like we really had a strong connection, and things just kind of slowly but surely fell apart and we no longer speak. I think about her all the time. It's really sad. I think we just don't have a lot in common anymore. And when the fallout was happening, this was a few years ago, I was trying so hard to hold on to the friendship because I was remembering the version of her that she was when we were super strong. I think the thing with friendships is we see the other person change, but we don't necessarily see ourselves change. So it's easy to look at someone and be like, you've changed and I'm still the same. But now that I'm out of it, I also see the ways that I've changed. I also see the ways that I was probably a bad friend. You know, I was mad at her for certain things and I was like, well, she did this, so I don't want to be her friend anymore. It wasn't one thing that broke us up. It was like a pile on of things. But you know, when you're in it from your perspective, you only see what the other person is doing wrong. Now that I'm years out of it, I'm like cringe and I'm like, oh, I did that and I was probably a bad friend. And, you know, I can now see the list of things on her side that she probably thought of me. I remember though, when we were basically arguing a lot. We would have stretches of time where we didn't speak. She had moved to another city, so that made things more difficult too. Then COVID made things super difficult. It just like, things just like weren't working out. And it was probably like 2 years of us trying to maintain this friendship, but probably also having a lot of like anger towards each other. Like I remember being really frustrated at certain things and like, ugh, like why isn't our friendship the way it was? Which just led to us like completely stopping to talk. When it was all happening, I was so worried that I would never find another friend like that again, that I would never, you know, kind of just like a breakup too. Like when you're breaking up with like a significant other, you're like, I'm never gonna find someone like this person, but you will find other friends. And I did find other friends, and that, you know, friendship breakup made room for other new friends. And that old saying of like, people come into your life for a reason, for a season, or for life, I think it's really true. Me and this girl, we were in each other's lives during university. We studied together. We had big dreams together. We dreamed about the future, you know, her career, my career, all of those things. And when we were no longer in that like university bubble together, I guess it just didn't work. And so that season was over. And so was our friendship. I still have hope that one day we could be friends again. Maybe we'll be back in the same season and we can be friends again. I guess I just overshared and told my own story rather than really answering the question or giving advice. But my advice is just to go through it. You will know in your gut, just like a romantic relationship, you will know if this person is meant to be in your life, if this is working out, because I think we have a higher tolerance for putting up with things that our friends do than we would in a romantic relationship. Like, oh, this person's being rude to me. This person's not respecting my time. This person's like insulting me. I don't know. We would not stand for that in a romantic relationship, but we put up with it more with friends. You don't deserve to, you know, have drama in the friendship or gossip or whatever it is about this person that's bothering you. And you can just remind yourself that you will find new friends, you will find your people, whether that's a group of friends, whether that's an individual bestie, they're out there for you. And everything happens for a reason, right? Just like the previous question. Everything happens for a reason. Completely changing gears, Yas asked, where do you find work for your freelancing work? The freelancing landscape has changed a lot, especially, let me correct myself. The freelance copywriting landscape has changed a lot, and I really think that's because of AI. I used to see so many job opportunities for freelance writers on LinkedIn. I see a fraction of the opportunities now than I did when I started copywriting 2 years ago. LinkedIn would still be my go-to place to look because sites like Fiverr, Upwork, you're making very little money. The sites charge a huge cut. They charge like a fee and like they take a cut of your earnings. And on those sites, you kind of end up pigeonholing yourself into one thing. So you're like, oh, I'm writing Instagram captions. I'm writing, email newsletters. And those are fine. But for me, at least, I like to do a variety of things. I don't want to just sit and write Instagram captions. So I never really liked those sites. LinkedIn is really great still. Now what I see is mid-level, you need like 5 years of experience. I don't have 5 years of experience yet, so recently I haven't had very good luck on LinkedIn. However, my contract, the one contract that I have, is still going strong, and I got this through word of mouth. I think for any job in any industry, word of mouth is so helpful. It's so strong. It's like that expression, your network is your net worth. I learned that in business school, and yeah, your network goes a really long way. If you want to get started as a freelancer, whether that's video editing, copywriting, photography, use your network. Ask your friends, ask your peers, hey, do you need a photographer? Do you need a website builder? Whatever it is you do, you're gonna have such better luck by actually asking people and reaching out to your network. Friends of friends, that's how I got my copywriting gig, was a friend saw a friend of hers looking for a copywriter, referred me. Those are the best ways to go about getting gigs. And I feel like those are really also how you build those long-term relationships. Like I've been working with my client now for almost 2 years and we're still going strong, and it's just through word of mouth. It can be scary to put yourself out there, to be like, hey, I'm starting this side project, but you got to do it. And when you put yourself out there and you trust yourself, that's when you're really going to be successful. All Fun and Games asked, have you ever done a murder mystery party? I have not hosted one, but I've been to one. My friend Louisa hosted one for her birthday and we all showed up in costume. It was so cool and so much fun. She also wrote the story herself, which was just like insane. I know you can buy like murder mystery kits online and stuff and they give you the storyline, but she like built it all herself. It was really cool. Jennifer asked, do you ever have lawyers look over contracts for deals? Teach us the behind the scenes. So no, I've never had a lawyer look over a contract. I look over the contracts, or my manager would look over the contract. The contracts are not too complicated. If they are, it's a red flag. Like sometimes you'll have a contract where the brand is like, we're gonna repost your video and we're gonna use it for ads and we're gonna we own this video for like 5 years, and it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's actually Natalie Barbu who taught me like how to look at a contract and to look out for those things, because there are brands out there who are gonna try and scam you as a creator. It's less common on YouTube because you're making like a 15 to 40 minute video and there's like a piece of that video which is the YouTube integration, like the YouTube sponsored integration. Like let's say the sponsored video I just did for the line, she would have to cut out that one portion. It's also like longer and chattier. But when it comes to Instagram and it's just a photo or a reel, that's where it can get tricky, where they can like take that photo and put it on their website without you knowing, or without compensating you for that. I feel like Instagram collabs, they have the trickier contracts. But you just gotta read them through, make sure you're comfortable with everything that is being said. The only time I would ever have a lawyer look over something if it was like a big multi-year deal, which hopefully one day I'll have, but haven't had the opportunity yet. Oh my God, the rain is picking up and I have to go out soon. I'm like so discouraged. This question is from Pippa. If you could tell Zoey from 2 years ago something, what would it be? So 2 years ago I was like about to get laid off. I'm having deja vu. I feel like I might have answered this question in last month's Q&A, but I think I would just tell myself, everything is gonna work out. Don't panic, don't freak out, calm down, live in the moment, be happy, enjoy every moment. But I feel like such a hypocrite saying that, because I feel like that's the same advice that in 2 years ago I'd give to myself. Like, I don't know, I just feel like I always live in this state of like anxiety and panic. And I'm like, why do I do this to myself when I'm constantly growing and looking back and being like, old you should have been more calm, but so should current me, So I gotta meditate or something. Oh my gosh, this question is kind of embarrassing. I've kind of been avoiding it. It's just like something that I don't know, I feel like it was a failure moment for me, like a true failure, and I'm kind of like embarrassed by it. But Ellie asked, what happened to the book club and Patreon? So for anyone who doesn't know, in October of last year, I launched a Patreon and I launched a book club within Patreon, and then there was also like bonus content tier. And I should have listened to my gut, because in the beginning, I just wanted to do book club. I didn't want to do bonus content. I just wanted book club. And when I was talking about it with friends and stuff, I got a lot of advice that was like, also do another tier, like do book club and another tier. And I was like, oh, I don't want to, but I listened to the advice and I did. Doing both really, really overstretched me. Like it was too much extra work on top of the YouTube work that I was doing and the freelance work I was still doing. I also think it just wasn't something that a ton of people were interested in. So it was a lot of work and not that many members, the bonus content specifically. I'm so grateful for everyone who joined. Like when I first launched it, there was like, I think 25 people who joined right away. And I was like, whoa, this is amazing. Like the support I felt, I was just like, oh my gosh, that was really, really cool. However, as time went on and I continued to promote the Patreon, new people were not really joining. So I think, there were those people who really wanted to support, who joined right away, and everyone after that was kind of just like not really interested. Book club was challenging because we had a small core group of people who were really invested in book club, who were reading the books, who were showing up to the meetings. And then we also had a lot of members who just never showed up. And I found that really discouraging, because part of the reason why I charged for book club was, to have people be committed. And I get it, like things come up, you want to join this book club, you want to read the book, and then you have your own life to worry about it. You don't have time to read the book. But I hated taking money from people when they weren't showing up to the meetings. Like it made me really uncomfortable, because I was like, I don't just want your money. Like I want to chat with you and I want to do book club with you. Anyways, it was just such a fail on my part. I think the recurring nature of Patreon, like having to pay every single month, I think that's a turnoff for a lot of people. And I get it, because when you're looking at your budget, the first thing you want to cut is those recurring expenses, especially if you're not participating, if you're not using it. And when, my book club costs as much as your Netflix subscription, it's like, well, what's going to go first? Obviously the book club. So yeah, I think I learned a lot from this experience. Like I should have listened to my heart and only done the book club. I think moving forward, if I were to ever do a book club again, it would just be pay to attend, not pay per month. It would be like, okay, you want to come to this meeting, it's on this date, it's this book. If you like that, if you agree with all that, here, you can pay 10 bucks and buy a ticket to the book club. Like I think that's how I would do it if I were to ever do it again. I had tried to make it be super interactive, like let's all vote on this book and when are you all available, but that just made it way too complicated. So I learned, I shut it down, unfortunately. I still, like I said, have so much love for those people that were in the Patreon and the people we were on book club with, because we like met over Zoom and we chatted for like hours. So I feel like we have like a special bond. But yeah, it was kind of, I don't know, it was kind of a fail, and I'm glad I tried, but I'm also still like embarrassed to talk about it, because no one likes to talk about their failures, right? Okay, you guys, I am gonna answer one last question, which is, hold on, I gotta find it. Your biggest regret that you used to have that is no longer a regret. I read this question and I found it was so hard, because something I really try and live by, I guess you could say, is to not have regrets. It's literally no regrets, because what is the point of having regrets? Sometimes I look back and I think of situations where I should have spoken up. I look back at situations where I was like, why did I do that? I think about situations when I was younger where I put myself in like a really unsafe situation. Like I remember one time, this was when I was in high school, I was walking to cheerleading practice and this guy drove by and was like, oh, like I'm a dad of the girls at like of so-and-so at this gym. Do you want to ride? Like he was going to pick up his daughter and I was on my way to practice. So I got in the car with him, but like everything was fine. I'm still here. Nothing happened. But why the F did I get in that car? Like I had my cheerleading uniform on, like my cheerleading practice t-shirt. He could have seen Black Widow and been like, oh, hey, I'm Brianna's dad. And it's like, who's Brianna? Like, I could have been abducted. So I regret that. And that's still a regret. But big things, I really try and avoid having regrets. I think if I had to pick something that there were moments that I regretted, it's actually going to Concordia University. I had a good time in university, but not the best time. And when I went to study abroad in Australia, I feel like I really got that university experience, and I saw what I had been missing the whole time at Concordia, because Concordia is a university, downtown Montreal, concrete jungle, no grass, unless you're at the Loyola campus, but like my classes were not there. I used to regret not going to Waterloo, Queens. I had been accepted to Laurier University. Like, I regretted not going to Queens. I didn't apply to Queens, but I sometimes was like, oh, what would it have been like if I had applied to Queens? What if I had applied to St. FX? What if I had gone to Laurier? I used to regret not getting that like small town university experience, but at the end of the day, going to Concordia led me to joining the case competition program, meeting JS, meeting Camilla, all of the jobs I had that led me right here to this moment, living what is very much my dream life. So I think everything happens for a reason. Maybe even me getting in that car with that dad who turned out to be safe happens for a reason. I don't know, but I don't think it's healthy for us to live with regrets. I think every situation in life, and whether this is toxic positivity or not, every situation can be treated as a learning experience. And I really do believe everything brings us to where we're meant to be. So on that positive note, I am going to stop talking. I hope you enjoyed this Q&A. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to The Line for sponsoring. Don't forget to check out their Black Friday sale, passport holders, cash envelopes, all the good stuff, 20% off. I love you guys so much. Bye.